So, Ford Focus SE ZX3. Okay, so we're gonna change out the brake master cylinder somewhere down under here for some odd reason, and it's hidden away. First off, you're gonna have to remove this bolt to get your battery out. It kind of holds your battery in place. Remove that bolt, pull the okay, get that out of the way. And then you're gonna have these two nuts here. You're also gonna have this bolt here, and just go ahead and take those out, loosen those up, take them out. I've already loosened these out, so just kind of going over and showing you what they look like. And pull this out. It comes right out. So be careful with the wires. Next, we're gonna take your fuse box and remove this out of the way so we can better get to the master cylinder, which is down in here, and see what we can get to today. Okay, so there's another bolt that goes, there's another bolt that goes in right here. You're gonna want to loosen that out, get that out, and then these are pretty much clipped in, so pull the clips out, pull the box. Hopefully it comes out the way we want it. So once you get that bolt that goes here loosen, you're going to take these clips out, and your fuse box you can move your fuse box a little bit better. This is where the master cylinder is, and it is really just tucked away. It's kind of stupid how a lot of this stuff is just in the way. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not a Ford person. I don't work on Fords normally. This is my girlfriend's car, so this is a first for me, so bear with me if I do things out of order. Okay, so here's a better look at where it's at. Here's your brake master cylinder. Again, this is my girlfriend's car. It's a 2005 Ford Focus ZX3. She was out driving around and her brake pedal just went straight to the floor. So I'm changing out the master cylinder. go ahead and remove your harness clips and get the fuse box out of the way if possible, just for more clearance. Yeah, it's looking pretty simple here. We'll start getting these, get everything disconnected, pulled out. Okay, so I got the clips taken off from some of the harness, but it seems the main one goes straight into the fuse box, which I am not even gonna mess with. And it looks like we got a decent amount of clearance, so we can get to the brake master cylinder. Yeah, and let's start pulling this thing out. Okay, so as you can tell, here's a better look at what we're doing. Make that wider. I don't know if you can tell the brand, Bosch. Gotta pull this bad boy out, then we will get all these loosened and pulled out. And then down in here you got a few bolts that hold the master cylinder in place. So we'll go ahead and get these pulled out. Looks like these are in by clips, so let's unclip them. Just make sure you got rags, because I'm pretty sure all this fluid's gonna come pouring out of here. Let's see. There we go. Yep, there goes the fluid. So we got that out. It's pretty much just a clip. As you can see, this white clip here, just push that white clip and push and pull pretty much. Put it so it's elevated so it's not gonna spill anymore. So I just put it up here, kind of tucked it in. Back to this. Now what we'll do is pull or loosen these up. Make sure not to strip any of these, because if you round these out, you are really gonna have some trouble, because you might. Let's go ahead and get these out. Once you get them broken loose, it's a lot easier to kind of just rotate them. Just got to make sure they're nice and loose. Makes it easier. See it moving. There also might be more fluid that will come out of these, so just take caution. There you go. See, the fittings looks like it needs to be cleaned up. Next, we'll go for these bigger ones. They look a little easier. It looks like you're gonna want to remove this portion, this line first, and then remove this bigger piece. We might get away with just removing this and then taking this off once the master cylinder is completely out, I should say. The further ones are in the back. It might be a little bit difficult, so you might want to move this one so you can get to the ones in the back. So let's go ahead and do that with all the other ones. It's all the same, really. It's just getting them loose, pulling the lines out, and removing this. So show you how that looks once it's out. It's a little difficult getting that back one with this piece in place. So go ahead and loosen that up. You can, as you can see, there's grooves here. You can loosen it from there. So go ahead and just loosen up this valve here, or fitting, I should say. It's got some grooves, so you can get some grip on it. Once you get it loose, unscrew it here. Make sure you do get this line and this fitting out of its way, so you have room to do this. If you're, see, there you go. So get this fitting out, place it somewhere where you're gonna most likely reinstall it. Put this fitting back on the new one. So we'll put this to the side for now. Now we got room to get to that one back there and get it loosened and taken out, and then we can work on pulling out these bolts. It's only 2 bolts, so one on each side. There we go. So we got all our lines disconnected, even the ones in the back. Now for the bolts here, and get those taken off. So we're gonna take these bolts out. They are, seems like a size 13 fits good. So get these loose and should pop right out. Okay, so once you get your bolts off, the 2 bolts that hold the master cylinder in place, just pretty much wiggle it out, and there we go. So we'll switch this out. When you do reinstall, always make sure you prime, and then yes, you will have to re-bleed everything, and obviously check for leaks once you're done also too. So let's get it cleaned up and get the new one ready. Okay, so here we have our new and old one. It's basically a remanufactured. It does say, due to original equipment design, this master cylinder must be bled on the vehicle. Do not bench bleed. Master cylinder will be damaged and leak if bench bled. So pretty much we'll get it installed and bleed it that way. I didn't want to go with the newer version, I guess. O'Reilly's had a $94 master cylinder, and sometimes they are not measured the same as remanufactured. So remanufactured are always good, plus you get the core charge if you return the old one. So you won't get a core charge for a brand new one. Just gonna level it out, make sure it's even. Okay, so that's in. But now that that's in, we can put the 2 bolts on, and bleeding system that they've given us. They've given us tubes and fittings, so we can go ahead and get these bolts in. Okay, so once you get all that tightened down and in, we can hook up the fittings that they gave us with the master cylinder to bleed or prime. I am actually going to just hook up the lines and hook up the hose from the reservoir and bleed it through the brake calipers instead of through here. Okay, so when you get these in, make sure never to cross thread them, because you will get leaks. Hand tighten them until they're fully in, and then you can tighten them up as shown. It's kind of hard to see back here. Trying not to cross thread it. So usually do it counterclockwise, and then just so the threads grab, and then run it clockwise. You got to remember that these ports where the fittings go are at an angle, and once you cross thread it, there's really nothing you can do. Okay, that's in. Gotta reach back and get this one in. Get the back one in. Okay, so once you get all your lines back in, like I said, make sure you never cross threads, and if you feel like you are cross threading, immediately back out and check your threads. All the lines are in, all tightened up, ready to be plugged in to the reservoir and the receiving line, I guess, whatever you want to call it, and kind of wipe down the area. Make sure there's no fluids that's gonna go that way. Okay, so once you get the line that goes to the reservoir connected, wipe down your master cylinder and underneath it, and add fluid. Check to make sure there's no leaks. Make sure all your fittings are tight. Make sure there's no leaks coming from the receiving or going out lines or whatever. Just so it doesn't go completely empty, so you don't have any bubbles. You might have some bubbles just because you've taken out the lines, but it should be okay. Now we'll go ahead and pump the brakes. Don't see any leaks. Seems good. So we'll go ahead and pump the brakes a couple times and let you know how it goes. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside the car. We got the cap off the reservoir, and we're gonna pump the brakes a couple times to get it running through, and then we will bleed all four corners of the wheels of the calipers. There's no more hissing, which indicates it's good. Not pumping it all the way down to the floor, as you can tell, just enough to get a solid pump. Okay, so after pumping the brakes, go back over here, check all your lines, make sure there's no leaks on the lines. You can tell, see that the fluid has gone down on the reservoir, which is a good thing. So now we can put the fuse box back in its location, get all the connectors hooked up for the harness, get the battery put back in, and go from there. Okay, so now that our master cylinder is in, there's no leaks, as what we can see. As far as we can see, there's no leaks. Looks good. Alright, so now we reconnect the harness to the fuse box, get the fuse box back in place, get that bolted back down, get the battery back in, and pretty much reverse the process of taking everything out. You're putting everything back in. Okay, so now we got everything back into place. We got the battery, we got the fuse box. We're gonna leave the cap off of the reservoir because we are going to bleed the calipers on all 4 sides. That'll be in another video. But yeah, everything's set, everything's good, and just make sure you get all your bolts tightened up, and always double check for leaks, even though there may not be any leaks. When you get everything, you know, tightened up, something may go wrong. You don't want to have to deal with all this shit and take it all back out. So always double check. You can go underneath the car and check for leaks. Doing that, you may need some brake cleaner and clean up the area first before. But yeah, like and subscribe for more content. Yeah, we're gonna bleed the calipers in part 2.